I moved in with my boyfriend a week ago, and now he tells me what to wear, who I can talk to, and that I should stop eating dinner. I moved into my boyfriend's place just 1 week ago, and already I've seen a dark side of him I didn't know existed. He started controlling me, telling me what I can and can't wear, how I should do my hair, telling me I'm not allowed to go out alone. And now he's asking me to cut off my friends. We've only been together for 6 months. But this version of him, it's like a switch flipped. Recently, he told me I need to stop eating dinner because his words. He's a high-value man, and he deserves to be picky about the woman he dates. He's not a millionaire. He just makes decent money. And for some reason, he thinks that gives him the right to monitor my body. Nothing about me has changed. My weight, my shape, the way I look, it's all the same as when we started dating. And back then, he called me beautiful, sexy, perfect. Now suddenly, I'm not enough. I work. I pay my own bills. But he asked me to move in with him. Told me I could live rent-free. At the time, I thought it was kind, generous, supportive. Now I realize it was a trap, a lure, a way to make me dependent. I talked to my mom about everything. She told me flat out, "You need to leave. This man is a dangerous psychopath." And now I believe her, so I'm doing it. I've already started looking for apartments, and I plan to be out in 2 weeks, max. For now, I'm keeping it a secret. Acting like I'm happy, smiling, laughing, playing along. But deep down, I know what's happening. I know I was fooled. I thought financial stability meant safety, but really, it was control. And I won't let anyone control me. I'm strong, I'm independent, and I'm getting out. Your mother is absolutely right. If he's already this controlling after just 1 week of living together, imagine how much worse it could get. This is how it starts, with restrictions, comments, and manipulation. And then slowly, he chips away at your confidence, your self-esteem, and your sense of reality. Run before he makes it even harder to leave. And one more thing. The term high-value man, that's straight out of the Andrew Tate playbook. It's toxic. It's empty. Because a real high-value man, he doesn't need to say it. You'll see it in how he treats you, in how he respects your independence, and in how secure he is without needing to control anyone. This guy, he's not high value. He's a walking red flag. 1,000% this. Everything you described? These are not personality quirks. They are red flags for abusive, controlling behavior. And honestly, the fact that you're even asking for advice means some part of you already knows the truth. Even if it's hard to accept because you're still holding on to the good moments you thought you had with him. But it's time to take off the rose-colored glasses and get the hell out before it gets worse. Actually, a reply to this said something even more important. This isn't just a list of red flags. This is already abuse. I said red flags because they're signs of what's coming next. But honestly, it's already started, and it will only escalate from here. He was never your safe space. You've only known him for 6 months. This is a textbook red flag pattern. They act sweet until they think they've got you locked down, until they think you're dependent on them and too unsure to walk away. It sucks that you're losing a free place to live, but honestly, it's a good thing this happened now. Before you got legally tied to him, or even worse, had a child with him. Let this be the lesson. Your safe space should never be a person like this. It should come from within you. That's where your power is, and that's how you make sure no one can ever take it again. They left me out of a $7,000 family trip to Disney and told me it was because I'm too expensive to bring. But everyone else, they're going. My fiance thinks I'm overreacting. I think I'm finally setting boundaries. And honestly, Reddit, I need a neutral opinion. I'm transgender. I've had a hysterectomy, partially because of medical issues, partially for gender dysphoria. I've been out the entire time my fiance's family has known me. We've been together almost 10 years, engaged for 2. I've been waiting until after my top surgery to officially get married. And for the record, I've tried. I've really tried. But I'm at the point where I've stopped forcing myself to show up for people who never seem to show up for me. Let me explain. They still call me by my dead name. It's been nearly 9 years of me using the same name, and still every time it's the wrong one. When my fiance's brother got married, they sat me alone at a table full of drunk strangers I didn't know while I silently spiraled through panic attacks. Jim was the best man. He was at the front, I was in the back, barely surviving. They told me to rent a suit so I'd look good in family photos. But I wasn't even included in one of them. Not even as someone who's been with Jim 3 times longer than the newlyweds. When Jim's cousin got married, I was included. Welcomed, seen, treated like family. That contrast was loud. Now, on the topic of kids. Jim and I have never wanted them. Even before my surgery, we both agreed it wasn't something we wanted. But his mom keeps asking him, "Have you changed your mind? Wouldn't it be better to have your own children?" It feels less like curiosity and more like a stab. I can't have children, and she knows that. And then there's the adoption comments. I'm adopted. My niece is adopted. And Jim's mom once casually said, "When you adopt, you should get a little black baby. They're just so cute." That one sentence carried so much ignorance it made my skin crawl. She also once told me to get a DNA test because she didn't believe I could be Romani. I was adopted into a Romani family, and in our culture, if you're raised Romani, you are Romani, no question. But she either tries to strip that from me or calls it exotic when it suits her. Then came the final straw. Jim's family is planning a huge trip to Disney. They're paying for everyone. Jim, his brother's wife, their new baby, both sides of the family, even extended relatives, everyone but me. They didn't say it was because of the political danger of being trans in Florida. They said it was because they can't afford me. Because $7,000 is too much to include just me. I've jumped through hoops for this family, minimized who I am, bit my tongue, endured years of side comments, exclusion, and misgendering. And now I'm done. I'm not cutting them off. But I'm no longer showing up where I'm not welcome. No more events just to be polite. No more bending to earn the approval of people who don't even try to meet me halfway. Jim says I'm overreacting, but after 10 years of the same message in different fonts, I'm finally choosing peace over proximity. So Reddit, am I the overreacting one? Or have I just finally had enough? You've shown this family more patience than most people ever would. They've dead-named you, excluded you, made backhanded comments, and tried to erase your identity at every turn. And you still showed up. This isn't a one-time offense, it's a pattern. And setting boundaries doesn't make you dramatic, it makes you strong. Jim needs to realize that you've been carrying this alone for far too long. This honestly broke my heart to hear. You sound like someone who's tried everything, being respectful, patient, understanding, all while getting the bare minimum in return. You're not being sensitive, you're being worn down. You've spent years making space for people who won't even try to meet you halfway. You deserve peace, you deserve respect, and you deserve to stop questioning that. This isn't about a Disney trip. It's about everything else that came before it. The misgendering, the microaggressions, the constant sense that you're being tolerated, not included. You've reached your limit, and that's okay. Relationships should be mutual. And if they can't offer you basic respect, you don't owe them your time, your presence, or your silence. You are not overreacting. You're just finally choosing yourself. My dad told me he owns me and can touch me however he wants. I told him he makes me uncomfortable in my own home, and he just got worse. I'm 18 years old, and I've never had a good relationship with my father. He's never told me he loves me, but he's had no problem insulting me. For as long as I can remember, there's been a lack of respect, a lack of boundaries, a coldness, covered in cruelty. Since I was 13, the insults became worse. He started calling me things like fat cow, the B word, lazy bee, slag. Then came the comments about my body, my chest, my legs, my stomach, my private areas. He talked about them in ways that were inappropriate, uncomfortable, and deeply damaging. It gave me body image issues. It gave me an eating disorder, and he didn't care. Last year, I finally raised my voice. I told him his behavior was out of line, that his lack of boundaries made me feel unsafe. Because by then, it wasn't just words. He would touch me in ways that weren't okay. He would pull my clothes down, get too close, be on top of me, grab my arms and legs until they bruised. I would scream, tell him to stop, and he never did. He enjoyed upsetting me. He fed off the reaction. When I finally confronted him, he didn't deny it. He didn't apologize. He just said, "You're my child. I own you. I can do what I want." We argued for over an hour. I told him he made me uncomfortable in my own home, and I told him, "I don't love you." After that, he got worse. That entire year, I couldn't stand to be at home. The only room in the house with a lock was the bathroom, so I'd spend hours in there just to feel safe. He made my own house feel like a trap. I've moved out since then, but part of me still wonders, am I overreacting? Is this just how he was raised? Is this some twisted way of trying to keep me young, to treat me the way he did when I was a child? My mom says I should try to fix things. She says it's just his way, but I don't know, because deep down, I don't think this was ever about love. I think he liked having control, and I don't think I can forgive that. So, Reddit, am I wrong for not wanting to fix this? Or is this the first time I've actually protected myself? You are not overreacting. This isn't normal. This isn't just how dads are. Your instincts are spot on. He's crossing serious lines, and he knows it. What you're feeling is your body warning you. And you're absolutely right to protect yourself. You deserve safety, you deserve peace, you deserve better than this. This made my blood boil. He told you he owns you? That he can touch you however he wants? That's not discipline. That's control. That's abuse, plain and simple. You did the right thing by getting out. And I hope you never go back. You're incredibly brave for saying it out loud. You make me uncomfortable in my own home. That takes strength. And now that you've moved out, you're finally starting to reclaim what he tried to take from you. Your voice, your body, and your power. Never question your right to feel safe again. Today, my mom raised her hand to hit me, and I flinched, showing her the side of my face where it hurts less, but this time, she didn't hit me. And for the first time ever, that hurt more than being hit. Hello, I'm 16. I don't really use Reddit or social media, but right now, I just need someone to hear this. Today, I made my parents angry. My mom raised her hand to hit me, and I flinched, automatically showing her my left ear, the side where it always hurts less. But she didn't hit me this time, and that's when it hit me. This awful, overwhelming pain in my chest. This heart-wrenching anticipation of a strike that never came. It's the first time I've ever felt this way. And somehow, I was disappointed that she didn't hit me. Growing up, my parents always hit me. Not in a we're abusive kind of way, just the way my culture disciplines kids. Most parents stop by the time their child turns 10 or 11. Mine didn't. They hardly hit me as a kid, but once I reached my preteen years, it's like they were trying to catch up on disciplining me. There's been wall slamming, handmade sticks they carved to hit me with, until they break. But the thing is, they've sacrificed so much for me. They spent so much time and money on me and my sibling. So every time I feel upset, I tell myself I'm just being dramatic. That I should be grateful. That I'm a spoiled brat who can't handle a little discipline. A few weeks ago, my dad hit me with a hairbrush, then a wooden stick. Then he dragged me by my hair and slammed me into a wall. And that day, I smiled. Not because I was happy, it just happened. A reflex I didn't understand. But that smile, it made both of my parents furious. The beating didn't stop until I was begging them to. No bruises showed up on my body, but I kept hoping they would. I thought, if he hits me hard enough and I pass out, maybe they'll finally regret it. But I didn't. And they didn't. Now, every time I see them even slightly angry, my chest tightens. The room spins, and the worst part? My body doesn't cry. It just waits. Waits for the next hit. And every time I feel like I deserve it, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why am I like this? Why do I feel so broken? I'm the perfect child in the perfect family. At least that's what everyone sees, but inside I'm just scared, and I have no one to talk to. Is there something, anything, I can do to feel better? I've tried. I've tried talking. I've tried journaling. I've tried completely changing my personality. Thinking maybe if I was quieter or nicer or more agreeable, they'd stop. But the fear, it never goes away. It just sits there. Every single day. Right under my skin, I've told people, a few. But the problem is, everyone knows my parents. They're involved, they're present, they're seen as kind, dedicated, even admirable. So when I finally opened up to someone, all I got back was, "You're overreacting." That doesn't sound that bad. Your parents are just strict. But they don't see the bruises that never form. They don't feel the air leave your chest when your back hits a wall. Years ago, my dad told me something personal. He said his father abused him, beat him when he was a child. And then he said he was grateful for it, because in his words, it made me stronger. He left home at 15 to go chase a better life, but somehow he still clings to this belief. That pain builds character. He once told me, "Every child deserves to get beaten. That's how you become strong." And since he didn't hit me when I was younger, he says it's not too late. That I still have to go through it. That's their ideology. Not discipline, not correction, conditioning, and now I'm stuck. Trying to be the perfect student, the perfect daughter, while silently wondering what's wrong with me for not being able to take it with a smile. Living in fear of your parents' anger, anticipating pain, and feeling like you're suffocating emotionally isn't just a phase. It's a sign that things are deeply wrong. No amount of sacrifice can justify this kind of fear, and you absolutely deserve to feel safe, not haunted. Your feelings are valid. You shouldn't fear your parents. Love shouldn't involve pain. You deserve respect and safety. Talk to someone about this. My sister walked out of Walmart with a $400 TV and didn't pay for it. Then she bragged about it in front of our kids, like it was a life hack. This just happened over Black Friday weekend, and honestly, I'm still processing it. My sister and her husband Mike went to Walmart for one of their big Black Friday sales. According to them, it was total chaos. Hundreds of people crowding every aisle, barely any employees on the floor, and long lines that wrapped around the store. At one point, Mike managed to grab one of the big doorbuster deals, a 65-inch TV that was marked down from $899 to $399. Now here's where it gets messy. Apparently, the checkout lines were so backed up that people started leaving the store without paying. No exaggeration. Just rolling their carts right through the doors. The registers were overwhelmed, security couldn't keep up, and a lot of people just took advantage of the chaos, and my sister and Mike were two of them. They walked out of the store with that TV without paying for it. Their reasoning? Everyone else was doing it. The store should have been better prepared. It's their fault for not having enough workers. What really got under my skin was how they talked about it afterward. We were at family dinner the next day, kids and all, and they were bragging about it. Just openly laughing and telling the whole table how they scored this amazing deal and how it was genius that they just walked out. They told this story in front of their kids, ages 8 and 10, and also right in front of my kids, who are 7 and 12. They were all smiles, like this was some clever way to beat the system. But to me, it sounded like they were justifying theft. So I pulled my sister aside after dinner. I told her flat out that what they did was wrong, that walking out with unpaid merchandise just because others were doing it doesn't make it okay. More importantly, I told her that setting that example for the kids sends a terrible message. That it's fine to take something if the system is too disorganized to stop you. She immediately got defensive, said I was being dramatic, that big stores like Walmart expect this kind of thing during Black Friday, and that it's not really stealing because the store couldn't handle their own crowd. Then Mike chimed in, said I needed to chill, said I was probably just jealous that I didn't get in on any good deals. Honestly, I was shocked, not just by what they did, but by how casual and self-righteous they were about it. Later that night, my kids asked me a question that made me feel even worse. Is it okay to leave a store without paying if it's really busy and no one stops you? And that's when it hit me. This is exactly the kind of lesson that shapes how kids see right and wrong. My sister hasn't spoken to me since I confronted her, And now my parents are saying I owe her an apology for causing drama and getting involved in something that wasn't my business. But how is this not my business when it's being modeled right in front of my children? Am I seriously overreacting? Because right now everyone around me is acting like this is just normal Black Friday behavior. Like walking out of a store without paying is just part of the chaos. And I'm sitting here wondering if I'm the only one who thinks that's completely messed up. Great role models. My son once found a high schooler's wallet the week after Christmas, stuffed with gift cards and a decent amount of cash. He found it at a crowded fair down the street and brought it home. We looked up the name on the ID and found only one match in the phone book. Yeah, this was a while ago. So we called, spoke to her parents, and the girl actually came to our house to pick it up. She was so grateful that she gave my son $25 of her own money as a thank you. It turned into the perfect teaching moment. It reinforced why doing the right thing matters. And I can't imagine just letting him keep it. Not only are you not overreacting, your sister and brother-in-law are just plain dishonest. Knuckleheads, the both of them. Honestly, I don't feel bad for Walmart. They're owned by one of the richest families on the planet and still pay rock-bottom wages to their workers. So, no, I don't really care what people walk out with. Call it what you want. But I save my outrage for people who actually hurt others. Not giant corporations who barely feel the loss. Just saying. It's Walmart. Do people even realize the damage this company has done to the middle class in America? To small towns? To local economies? They've spent decades crushing the labor movement, fighting against unions, blocking debt relief, and pushing for tax breaks that benefit the ultra-wealthy while workers struggle to get by. They're one of the worst corporate citizens out there. And the family behind them? They're billionaires many times over. So honestly, when someone says you can't steal from a corporation like that, I just shake my head. Because they've been taking from the poor and middle class for decades. They just do it in suits and call it business. If someone told me that story in a conversation with just adults, yeah, then I'll admit it. I'd probably laugh and say, yeah, forget Walmart, for all the reasons people have mentioned. But here's the thing. When kids are in the picture, I think the conversation shifts. At certain ages, they need to hear things in black and white. Stealing is wrong. Simple, clear, uncomplicated. You build that moral foundation first. And then, as they grow older and their reasoning develops, you start introducing nuance. You teach them how to navigate the gray areas. But that comes after they've learned the basics. Otherwise, it's way too easy to send the wrong message. They chose a dog over my kids and called me dramatic for staying inside. The dog was off-leash, aggressive around babies. And somehow, I was the problem for not joining the fun. My mother-in-law was hosting lunch at her house. It was a small family get-together, and since the weather was nice, she planned a barbecue outside. When we arrived, me, my husband, our daughter, and our 9-month-old son. My brother-in-law pulled me aside. He casually says, "Just so you know, my wife's bringing our dog." He's not great around babies, gets jealous, not really safe. And I'm just standing there thinking, then why bring the dog? You know I'm bringing my baby. I told him, okay, we'll keep our distance, but I was already on edge. A few minutes later, my sister-in-law shows up. With the dog. For context, this isn't a tiny little pet. It's a full-grown husky. She sees me holding my baby, looks right at me and says, "Oh, I see you have the baby. I'll head straight outside. He's not good with babies." Again, all I'm thinking is, then why bring the dog? You knew I wasn't going to leave my baby at home. Time passes, lunch is ready. I look outside and see the dog is off leash, running around freely. I figured, okay, maybe everyone would come inside to eat given the situation. Nope. They all stayed outside, had lunch, laughed, and enjoyed themselves, and left me and both of my kids alone inside. I wasn't going to bring my baby out there with an unpredictable dog, especially after being told directly that the dog wasn't safe. My husband came in and out to check on us, but that was it. Everyone else just carried on like it was normal to exclude a mother and her children because they prioritized a pet over basic safety. And I didn't say anything, not because I agreed, but because I didn't want to cause a scene. It felt so obvious, like surely I shouldn't have to say, maybe leave the dog at home. Or at the very least, put the dog in the garage for an hour so we can all eat together. But no, I was left to eat alone. Inside. With my baby on my lap, and my daughter asking why we weren't outside with everyone else. This is my first time posting anything like this. But seriously, am I in the wrong for feeling completely left out over a dog? You are not overreacting. Something similar happened to us. An aunt on my husband's side brought her dog to a family gathering when our kids were still really young. And she kept warning us, oh, he's not great around strangers. Or kids. And in my head, I'm thinking, then why on earth did you bring him? Thankfully, the dog was small and she held him the whole time. We made sure to keep our kids far away. Later, I asked someone why she even brought the dog. No one had an answer. Just a bunch of excuses like, that's just how she is. She uses the dog for emotional support. She can't go anywhere without it. That was the last time I took my kids to a family gathering. Because what? My children are supposed to risk getting bitten so a grown adult doesn't have to work on their issues. No thanks. Not the one in the wrong at all. Bringing a dog they already know isn't good around children and then letting it off the leash. That's reckless, especially when it ends up isolating you and your kids from the rest of the gathering. Your husband should have stepped up. You shouldn't have been left alone like that, while his family acted like it was all no big deal. Honestly, for safety reasons alone, I think your time, and your children's time, would be better spent somewhere else. And going forward, if the dog's going to be there and its owners can't or won't keep it away from your kids, then you don't go. Period. That is so rude. You and your kids were left to eat inside, alone, while the rest of the family sat outside with an untrained dog celebrating Easter like nothing was wrong? What? The actual hell? That's revolting. You are not overreacting at all. Who honestly thinks that's okay? It's not just inconsiderate, it's completely lacking in basic courtesy. I'm so sorry you and your beautiful children were treated like that. I wouldn't forget it either. Absolutely vile. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you probably have an opinion, so drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories like this, hit that like button and subscribe for more every day. I've got plenty more where this came from. Until then, stay safe.